Let's look at another passage based question that is going to ask something along the lines of what inference can be made based on something that you read. Remember, when you have one of these types of questions, you're going to need to read the passage. It might be before you read the question that you're going to have in front of you, it may be after, it may be both and multiple times. You're going to have to find the answer from within. It's going to test your reading comprehension and your understanding of a topic like inferencing. Our article, of course, is from Team Moon, how 400,000 people landed Apollo 11. Have this article open as you investigate and follow along in this video, and you can find the link to that in the description. Let's go ahead with today's question. From the description of the lunar module, what can be inferred about the design process? A, the design was based primarily on aesthetic considerations. Aesthetic meaning that they wanted the rocket to look good. B, the team had a clear picture of what the lunar module should look like from the start. C, practicality and functionality were the main drivers in the design of the lunar module. Or D, the design was inspired by previous spacecraft designs. Remember, with these types of questions, you're having to make an inference. You're having to read between the lines or use evidence to help you solve the question. The passage probably isn't going to come right out and say it. Pause here, take a moment to reread the question, reread the passage, and see if you can come up with both the correct answer and where in the passage you were able to find that answer. And let's go ahead and look at that answer. Our question asked, from the description of the lunar module, what can be inferred about the design process? A said the design was based primarily on aesthetic considerations. That one you may have been able to cross out pretty early on. It's not right because the article never talks about the lunar module needing to look pretty or cool or stylish. Instead, it talks about its practicality, its uniqueness. It had never been done before. B says the team had a clear picture of what the lunar module should look like from the start. The article comes out pretty early on and says that this is not the case. The article mentions that nobody knew what a lunar module was supposed to look like in the beginning. Remember, this is like the first time they're doing this fresh. D is also incorrect. The design was inspired by previous spacecraft designs. The article suggests that the lunar module was a new kind of spacecraft that they hadn't made before, so it wasn't just based on older designs. There may also be hints of truth sometimes in some of the answers, but there's almost always going to be a best one, and that one is C. Practicality and functionality were the main drivers in the design of the lunar module. The article describes the lunar module as a seatless, gold foil encased, four-legged, spidery-ish thingamajig, which sounds more practical and functional than it does pretty. It also says that form followed function, meaning the way it was built was more about what it needed to do than how it looked. From those quotes from within the article, you could get rid of a few of these answers and hopefully settle on C. If we go back into the passage, and then reread and highlight this section would be where we would find that answer. From paragraph 6, no one ever imagined landing on the moon in a seatless, gold foil encased, four-legged, spidery-ish thingamajig nicknamed the LEM. After all, no one knew what a lunar module was even supposed to look like, and so form followed function. Never mind if it looked like a bug. This section shows that the lunar module's design was more about being useful and working well than about looking a certain way. That's why practicality and functionality were the main things they thought about when designing it. The best trick for these is to get really familiar with the article. And again, that may require you to reread it a few times. It may require you to read the question and then go back to it. But once you're able to pick out things from it, it's going to make questions like this one a lot easier.